Hey, what's up guys, this is What the Tech, and if you're anything like me, you absolutely hate it when you have something other than 4G or LTE on your phone. And don't even get me started if you see 3G. You might as well not even have a reception. Well, don't you worry, because those days are numbered. At the moment, we're marching towards the path of 5G wireless internet. And in the not too distant future, we're gonna see 4G just relegated to the downtrodden amongst us. But before we take the path down 5G, let's remind ourselves how we beamed ourselves forward into the 4G LTE era. Alright, let's check it out. Alright, so when 4G was first internationally standardized back in 2009, it took around a year before the first 4G capable phones were shipped to the market. The first one was Sprint's HTC Evo back in 2010, and Apple's first iPhone to have 4G modems inside was the iPhone 5 in 2012. And it makes sense that there's a gap between the actual standardization and actually having the products that we can use to take advantage of it. Because in the meantime, telecoms and ISPs actually have to go set up the infrastructure in big urban areas and then build out into the gaps in between to the rural areas, if any at all. And looking from a business perspective, if you're a big company like Samsung or Apple or Nokia at the time, you want to get away with not having to put a fancy new expensive modem into your phone for as long as possible, because then that can help reduce your average production costs. Alright, so enough of burying the lead. What's 5G and what is it good for? So for the astute amongst us, there's an extra G, but that doesn't begin to explain or show how big of a difference it is. It isn't like from 3G to 4G. This is something even more grandiose, and we're going to be checking out some technologies that this new implementation can help spur into reality. Alright, so first up is autonomous driving. 5G is the missing link that's separating cars from autonomous driving. It would allow for cars to make even bolder, more independent decisions in real life situations. Now you see, 4G can already handle the data that cars need, but it can't handle the latency that's required. 5G standards call for 1 millisecond of latency, while 4G offers in real-time situations around 80 to 140 milliseconds of latency. And if you're a driver, you know that every split second is needed in avoiding an accident. What could be a cool bar story could end up being a tragic accident that could have been avoided, and 5G is necessary in order to facilitate that. 5G also allows for data and sensor fusion to occur on the fly. You can have cars seamlessly absorb all this information from different types of sensors on board, and as well as communicate with public infrastructure. Imagine your car is going down the road and then the traffic light relays to your car that there's no possibly safe way for you to cross that intersection, so your car begins to slow down, either autonomously or overriding your command. Another interesting thing that I find interesting, because this is like meta mode right here. When we reach a point where autonomous driving and self-driving cars become the mainstream, this has to be like pack immunity, like 99% of cars. You're gonna have the fleet of cars driving, and then when one sees a pedestrian and begins to slow down, it'll send signals out to all the other cars in the area and around it. It will share the information that the LiDAR sensors, radar sensors, and image processor saw, and then everyone knows to slow down and prepare for an immediate halt. That's something that isn't possible right now. All we can do is react to a car stopping, but we can be proactive now, and hopefully this could save lives. Of course, at the moment, one of the pioneers in autonomous driving is Tesla with autopilot software, but there are also now traditional automakers like Audi who are leading the march in self-driving, particularly in Europe with their A8 luxury sedan. And next, moving on from cars, is home internet. Yeah, go figure, right? At the moment, wherever you live, there's a good chance that your only choices for home internet is determined by two companies offering both a form of DSL or cable. In the last couple of years, there's been a big hoopla about fiber internet. I was even excited too, noticeably from the now stalled and almost defunct Google Fiber. Now, if you don't remember this, I don't blame you, because this isn't talked about that much. But the promise of fiber internet is that you could achieve 1 gigabyte up and down speeds as long as you have fiber wiring running into your house. And those blazing fast internet speeds, at least in America, wasn't even conceivable at the time. So if you're receiving like up and down 10 and 25 and you get promised 1 gigabyte, you go, whoa, sign me up. But there's an issue. The status quo favors those two duopolies in not offering great service at all, and also not bringing anything innovative. So when Google came knocking at the door, they were quite afraid. And even though Google came into this industry with almost unlimited amount of money down, they still ran into roadblocks. One of the biggest issues is that running fiber is ridiculously expensive. Now, it has to be noted that Google faced many challenges in this regard. If you wanted to run fiber, you'd have to link it up to every single home physically, run it to a telephone pole, and the ISPs who were already attached to that pole had to send out a technician to personally move each line that belonged to them. That way, that stalled Google's growth, as well as made it cost prohibitive, because a lot of times Google would actually have to pay to these other companies to move their own poles. And whenever a city did allow Google just to send one technician to move everything, companies such as at&t and Charter would sue those very cities for interrupting with its properties. Now, what 5G can bring to home internet is almost miraculous. Not only can it take over where fiber internet failed, it can do so much more. The idea is to get multi-gigabyte speeds so that it's more than what a fiber optic could give, but beam it into your house in a wireless form package. So here's how it would work. Existing cell towers would have new, heavier gauge fiber optics linked to them to upgrade them essentially. Once the original cell towers are upgraded, huge nodes of receivers and extenders will be placed strategically throughout an environment, on telephone poles, on streetlights, intersections, or even commercial businesses. And then these would be placed strategically throughout a city. And so once you have the coverage laid out, you can start aiming it at certain areas, such as homes or commercial districts. Now you can see this is significantly less expensive than digging up ground and actually laying the cable itself. And unlike 4G, 5G is being built with this in mind. So if you think that, hey, 4G is fast enough, have you ever tried surviving on 4G and not your home internet for a while? You realize, yes, some things are fast, but it's still too slow for me. 5G is being built with the idea that it can replace your home internet. You can have multiple devices streaming at the same time, heavy bandwidth items like playing games, Skyping, FaceTime, and watching certain videos in HD, and there won't be any hiccups at all. And also something pretty important to note is that 5G is very directional. Unlike 4G cell towers or extenders that go in an omnidirection, 5G can be focused to a high density area or any area. If you want to send 5G to a squirrel or to an apartment building, that can be done. So when companies place an antenna, they'll get their most money out of it by aiming it towards the area of the most customers. Just to update you guys on what's going on, companies such as Verizon, at&t, and T-Mobile are expanding their networks, but it most likely won't be till 2020 to 2025 until we see the first cities go live. And ideally, with all this competition, it should translate into aggressive packages and data rates. Cross my fingers here, but maybe we'll eventually see the return of truly unlimited internet without any throttling either. Alright, so before we start wrapping things up, if we're talking about 5G wireless internet, we should probably talk about our phones. The thing is, just like 4G, you have to wait until the infrastructure and coverage is significant enough where companies can brag about it and actually get real speeds. Not just in the States, but in other markets as well, like China, Australia, Europe, Japan, and Korea. And also companies can save money just from avoiding 5G modems for as long as they can, or at least until the competition demands it. Remember, when a company can save money, they will, even if it ends up screwing you over. Now, even though 5G won't be blessing our phones with high data speeds anytime soon, what I can imagine it being used for beforehand is interpersonal shopping experiences, ads designed just for you. Also, if you're at a public event, that venue or whoever's hosting it can support a mass amount of people, can use AR in order to enhance the experience of the event. I think that's pretty dope. Brave new world, and hopefully we don't mess this one up. Thanks for watching What the Tech. If you like what you saw, don't forget to give a thumbs up, and comment down below if you're okay with 4G and you really don't care about 5G at all. Also, don't forget to subscribe. In a future video, we'll be talking about the differences in depth between 4G and 5G. All right, see you later. Peace.